Good morning, everyone. It is September 16, 2015, and the Consumer Price Index for August has just been announced, and it is trending down 0.1% compared to prior months. Now, what does that mean? It means that since January of this year, we've been seeing a steady decline in the Consumer Price Index, and that's important because the Postal Service can only raise their rates to the CPI level for each class of mail. That's part of what was passed with the Postal Accountability and Enhancement Act law in 2006. Now, in July, the Postal Regulatory Commission calculated the Consumer Price Index at 0.576%. And with this decline now showing for August, we expect that after the PRC calculates their trend, it's going to show a lower amount. Now that puts additional challenges on the Postal Service, and this is on top of the exigency roll-off decision that was made earlier this summer. Now, where do we stand in terms of price adjustments for 2016? Well, it's still hard to tell, but there's two possible paths that I see right now. One is that the Postal Service can continue to wait and see what might happen in terms of allowing the exigency, or that 4.3% increase that we saw introduced January 2014, as a permanent basis for adjusted prices. They're waiting to see if Congress is going to pass legislation that would allow that to be permanent, but doing that is going to require careful balancing amongst the Postal Service, the unions, and the industry to allow that to happen. And while I certainly equate their latest move in asking the courts to come in with injunctive release as sort of a Hail Mary pass, we'll have to see on that. My thought personally on it is I don't see the exigency being permanent. I see that as rolling off, and we anticipate that to happen as early as April of next year, early April on that. And you see our webpage is counting down to that particular event. What's the other path the Postal Service could take? Well, they could adjust their prices within the classes of mail, still keeping it capped to CPI. And since CPI is trending down, as I just announced this morning, it means that the Postal Service is going to shuffle the deck, if you will, of the different classes of mail or subclasses within that class. What could happen? Well, it's hard to say, but we may see certain subclasses like periodical nonprofits, for example, seeing a large increase, maybe double-digit increases, while other classes of mail go, or subclasses go down in their prices. So it's hard to say at this juncture what's going to happen, but what we know is this. The CPI is continuing to trend down, which puts pressure on the Postal Service to be able to adjust prices up in order to increase revenue. So they're going to need to adjust within those classes, and certainly they're continuing to hold out to see if the exigency is going to be permanent. Stay tuned with BCC software. Continue to watch our webpage. We're going to be announcing what the PRC's adjusted rate is in the next couple of days after they tell us what that is. I expect it to go down, and again, we're waiting to see what's going to happen in terms of the court's decision with the recent filing by the Postal Service. Thanks, everyone. Stay tuned, and we'll tell you more about it later.